folks. Star Trek fans are beaming today, pun intended, about the opening of the new Star Trek movie. And Pittsburgh fans will especially enjoy the film, knowing that one of our own hometown boys has a starring role as the young Spock. KDKA's Dr. Drew Mignot, a professor of film at Point Park University and a hero in all our hearts, went to Hollywood to talk with Zachary Quinto about his role in one of the hottest films of the year. Drew, welcome.
Good to see you.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
And you really like this film.
I love this film, absolutely. You know, there have been 6 Star Trek TV series. There have been 10 Star Trek movies. This has been around for over 40 years. And they were looking to reboot this series to really start it all over again, start it fresh, kind of like what they did with the James Bond movies, the Batman movies, the Superman movies.
Right.
Absolutely. And there are some really great Pittsburgh connections here. You know, Zachary Quinto, Randy Pausch, J.J. Abrams, you know.
Abrams, the director.
Yes.
Randy Pausch, of course, the recently deceased CMU professor who plays I guess, a crew member, right?
Yeah, a quick cameo role at the very beginning of this movie. Yeah. But, yeah, I did talk to JJ and asked him about the Pittsburgh connections with Randy and with Zachary Quinto.
Good. Let's take a look.
Well, you know, I never got to meet Zachary. Okay. Zachary, he's a spectacular guy. And he was the first person we cast. I thought that we would never find a Spock. And Zachary Quinto walked in, and I, like, gasped. Because I just before he even said anything, I was like, Spock, I just knew. And so, without question, we never could have made Star Trek without Pittsburgh.
Okay.
That was my Pittsburgh.
Secondly, let's talk about Randy Pausch.
Well, I read the New York Times piece about him that described this, you know, extraordinary guy who was going through an extraordinary experience, and among other things, mentioned that one of his life dreams was being the captain of a starship. He was a big Star Trek fan, and I was this guy about to direct the Star Trek movie, and read that he was suffering from cancer, and that you know, I just thought, are you kidding me? You know, this is. It's the easiest thing to ask if he wants to do, and if he doesn't or can't, then that's okay. But to read this article and see that one of his life dreams was to, you know, be a captain. I sent him an email, and I just said, you know, something like, you know, I can't promise you you'll be captain, but, you know, you could definitely be on the ship if you wanted to do it. And he responded and said yes. And he came with his wife, and he shot the scene, and he's in the film, and has a line in the movie, and was wonderful to work with. And I was a real fan of some of the work that he had done in computers years earlier. And so it was this weird thing where here's a guy whose work I really admired, whom I'd never met, and because of the article was made aware of him and reached out to him, and he, you know, honored us with his presence. He shot his scene. He was terrific, and we kept in touch until a few weeks before he passed away. We were emailing.
Wow. J.J. Abrams, the director of the new Star Trek film, talking about Professor Randy Pausch and his role in the film. Let's talk about J.J. and his role in Pittsburgh films.
Yeah, actually, there was a Pittsburgh connection with him. He was here in 1996 as an extra in a movie called Diabolique.
As an actor?
As an actor, yeah, just an extra in a movie with Sharon Stone. So he actually was familiar with the area, stayed at the Western William Penn, knew all about Primanti's, and, you know, and yeah, was a Pittsburgh kind of guy. He's been here and knows the place, so that was fun.
But now talk about a Pittsburgh guy who really knows the place.
Yeah.
That would be our next guest, Zachary Quinto.
Yes, absolutely. I did ask him about what it was like growing up in the Burgh.
KDKA from Pittsburgh down there and that. It's cool. I grew up there. I've lived in Pittsburgh from birth until I was 23, because I also went to college there, Carnegie Mellon. Yeah. Carnegie Mellon and that. I'm so excited when I can talk to somebody down there from Pittsburgh that knows
Is that the accent?
Yeah, totally. Not even exaggerating, right?
That's it.
It's pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
For real. But anyway, yeah, I love Pittsburgh, my hometown, you know. It's a great city, and I feel happy and comfortable and at ease all the time when I come back.
Great. Growing up, you were a big Star Trek fan?
Not so much, not at all, no. I was exposed to it sort of peripherally, but I spent a lot more time in my own imagination than in the imaginations of other people when I was a kid, so I didn't really, I wasn't really a big comic book kid, I wasn't really even that much of a TV kid, but but definitely not sci-fi. I grew up in the Star Wars generation, as did Chris, so I think we spent a lot of time in that world, and that had a big pull over me. But it wasn't until I got older and was really able to understand some of the intellectual concepts that Gene Roddenberry was playing with in this series in an allegorical way that I actually got really ignited by it.
Were you guys a little nervous about stepping into these roles? With all the history and these pop culture icons, what are your thoughts?
Certainly in the beginning, I had some trepidation stepping into the role of someone who, what Mr. Shatner had done was so unique and so special that I didn't know if I could do something as equally special and unique. And but it really was a matter of JJ setting this mandate in the beginning of the process, which was, at least for the time being, these are your characters, so bring to it that fresh and unique perspective that you're able to do. And I felt that was a challenge that I was up for.
Yeah, I mean, I felt similarly daunted by the scale and the scope of these characters and the world in which they've existed for 40 years, but I also had the great advantage of working directly with Leonard Nimoy. He's been involved with this process as long as I have, and that, for me, was a great connection, and getting to know the impact that this character's had on his life and how it's ostensibly forced him to redefine his creative journey a number of times over, and then to see the way that journey has affected the character. I mean, the richness of that for me was never lost for a moment, and really informed my perspective and point of view on the character.
Good, thank you. If there's a sequel, you would come back?
Totally.
Absolutely.
And I have a sticker on my car, that's the letter N and then the @ symbol. And it's like, one of those circular oval stickers that people get when they go somewhere. I drive around LA with it, so, an @ What's up?
And nobody knows what it means except a real Pittsburgher. Chris Pine was obviously buffaloed by the whole accent thing.
Yeah.
This is really, as you explained it to me, a movie, and they both seem like charming guys and great actors.
Yeah.
And you love them both in the roles. But it's really Spock's movie, isn't it?
Absolutely. He is the central character, and it's him, and it's also Leonard Nimoy in this movie as well.
He looks like a young Leonard Nimoy.
Absolutely. I remember the first trailer I saw, I was just blown away at how amazing the resemblance was. This movie is relentlessly entertaining. It's amazingly good. It's good on every level, the casting, the direction, everything about it. It's very, very exciting. This gives a whole new audience, I think, to Star Trek.
Well, we can't wait to see it. Drew, thanks so much for the preview. And for more interviews with the cast of Star Trek, folk, just go to KDKA.com. You'll also find pictures there from Zachary Quinto's high school years at Central Catholic. And we want to thank Paramount for giving us the opportunity to fly to California for today's interviews. I didn't go, but Drew got the gig, and it was nice of him.